y'all, Jesse Jameson here, also known as the Tax Deed Dude. Today we're going to be doing a live review of next week's tax deed sales and properties up for auction. So this data will be for March 10th through 14th. However, if you're watching this after those dates, this will be a really good video to watch and learn how we break down which tax deeds are worth bidding on and how we run our due diligence to analyze those properties and find those golden nuggets. So without further ado, let's dive in. Okay, first thing I do every Monday when I want to search for next week's tax deeds is I go into our trusty propertyonion.com profile here. I'm going to go to find property, and I always like to do the spreadsheet view first. Now we're going to be looking for throughout the entire state, so we want to look at all the counties that we have and then we'll break it down by there. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and go to my filters here. I'm going to go to our sale type as tax deeds, our auction status as upcoming so that we don't have any redeemed or previously sold. But that should also get knocked out with our auction date here. So I'm going to go for next week, the 10th through the 14th. And let's just start with that. Make sure I take off my county here so we have all of our counties in Florida and apply filters. So next week, the entire state has 365 properties up for auction. Okay, so a lot of those are going to get redeemed in the next week, but I do like to do my due diligence about 3-4 days out. So right now we're just coming up with like a breakdown of the ones that we think are worth watching, and we'll put those on our watch list. Now, the first thing I like to see, since I'm in spreadsheet view, I have a lot of information here. We can go ahead and customize our columns. This one, we're going to do our Florida Tax Investors group here. So I have everything that I need to make a good decision about what I want. We can go ahead and apply our columns, and I'm going to export this. All right, so it comes out as a CSV file. I'm going to go ahead and copy this and all the information, and I have a template that I like to use. So I'm going to go ahead and remove everything from our last review and copy and paste. There we go. So we have all 365 in there. And in my template, I'm just going to go ahead and make sure I have the right data set here real quick. All right, so we've got all of everything refreshed here, nice new data. And what you're looking at on the screen right here is actually the pie chart of the types of properties that are going up next week, right? So you can see almost 50% is land. That's not unusual, that's what you're gonna find. But what we want to know more importantly is what do we not want, okay? So you can see here on the left, I've broken it down by county, and I can see that there are some with even like wasteland, okay? So we definitely wanna take that out. Looks like condominiums, mobile homes, these are all standard. We do have a couple of industrial in Miami-Dade. I just know from personal experience, you can't really top any bidders in Miami-Dade, especially with anything other than land. So land maybe, but not industrial complexes, multifamily, things like that. So we'll probably take those out. And it looks like everything else is pretty good. What I can do is come over here and just break that down a little bit easier to look at for our counties. So we have approximately, or exactly 17 counties. And you can see this is how many tax property sales are going up for auction next week in each of these counties. Okay, so you can see we have a ton to work with. We have a lot of counties we can look at. One thing that does stick out is Putnam County, right? Putnam County has 158. There's a reason for that. That's for another video, another day. I will not touch Putnam County, even though I've had good experience before, but lately it's just been a little weird. But again, that's for another video, another day, so we're not going to get into that one. So what you might be wondering is where are all the other counties? Remember, we're just breaking it down for next week's auctions. There are 4 weeks this month. So one thing I would say, like Polk is a big one. We can always go to Polk's website and just look at their auction calendar, and we can see, so this is the week we're looking at, 10th through 14th. The week following that, they have 83 properties coming up for sale, okay? Looks like they had another sale going on, but all of those got redeemed or canceled. They might have bumped them into this one, you never know. So next week, when we review the 17th through the 21st, these are gonna come up and we'll look at those, okay? So that's another good one. So with that said, getting back into the data, what I like to do, again, this is my personal way of doing things. Feel free to customize whatever you like to do, but this is how I found the most success with these results. So I'm gonna go back into my search results, and immediately what I'm gonna do is actually just kind of take out everything I don't want, and that is starting with the use code, okay? So we're gonna go to the actual land use, or sorry, not the actual land, property type, and we're gonna take out those ones that said wasteland, commercial, industrial, Miami. So these are ones I'm not going to personally bid on. If you want to bid on, great, go for it. Best of luck to you. Let me know how it goes. But I'm going to take these out for now. So let's just go ahead and take those and remove them out. Okay, we're going to drop down to, looks like Wasteland is at the bottom. I think that's the only other one we saw. We've got mobile, multifamily, other. We definitely want to check on this one. But let's just pop out that Wasteland here. And I'm going to go ahead and take out the counties that I know I'm not going to personally want to touch. Definitely Miami-Dade is one of them. The competition is just way too high. Hedge fund companies are all over this. Okaloosa is a good one. Orange County is a good one. Palm Beach is another kind of hot one. They've got, as you can see, no land, just condominiums, single family. Pasco, another good one, especially for land and mobiles. That's another good kind of golden nugget. If you can find an old mobile, demolish it, and then put either a new mobile up there or sell it with the septic and the well. That'll add, you know, the impact fees are going to be reduced, so it kind of markets a little bit better than just a regular vacant piece of land. So just a little tidbit there. And Putnam, I'm also going to remove. Okay, so now I've got Volusia's a good one, Santa Rosa's great, Lee County's good, Alachua Bay, Charlotte. So we're looking really good. Okay, so now that I've gotten the property types out and some of the counties, I'm actually going to reduce it even further down to the ones that are only on real auction. Okay, so I really only like to deal with one platform. If you get into the other ones, it's a little, you know, gets a little confusing. I think real auction is the best one to go for, and I have all my deposits there and everything. So we're just going to deal with real auction for now. Now, I have my own personal little cheat sheet. I've figured out all the counties and whether they're currently in person, real auction, or any other platform. So I just go ahead and double check these just to make sure. I'm pretty sure all of these are on real auction, but just to be sure, we're going to double check, and I can just refresh my counties. So Alachua Bay, Charlotte. Let's just do real auction here. Alachua Bay, Charlotte. We're good. Citrus Duval Hernando, Citrus, I know personally that these are on here. Duval Hernando is a good one. Hillsborough Lake Lee. Hillsborough is another kind of high competition, so we kind of check on that. Sometimes you get a good little gold nugget. And Okaloosa is another good one I like to bid in. We got Orange Palm. Okay, so Palm Beach is, yep, there we go. Okay, Palm Beach, Pasco, Santa Rosa, excuse me. I need my caffeine fix for the day. I do know Pasco very well. Santa Rosa is another good one, especially for tax liens. If you guys are trying to get into tax liens, Santa Rosa is a good one, and also Volusia for tax liens as well. We're talking about tax deeds, but just a little tidbit there. So all these are good. So I'm going to go ahead and say that these counties are good. So now we've dwindled it down from, I believe we're at 360 something to 180. So we're looking really good here. All right, so step 3, process of elimination, right? We don't want to spend all our time looking at all of these. We don't have time to do due diligence on, 180 plus, okay? So I've created a little formula for myself. It's the county market value divided by the opening bid. Why this is important is if you have an opening bid, normally like on a homestead property, right, it's going to be much, much higher than the regular opening bid. So if I know that I want to buy a single family home and it may be worth $250 and the opening bid is like $175, that's kind of a red flag to me. I'm not going to have room to fix and flip or, maybe wholesale, but a lot of times those get sold at assessed value anyway or more. So really I just kind of steer clear of anything that has a low percentage. So these are 0 only because we are dividing by this, which has 0 in it. So we're going to skip over those. That's usually land. So I'll go get to that in just a second. So here you can see this county market value, and even just looking at the improvement and the assessed value and the land value. So even if I had to bulldoze this home, it's probably a home. Yep, household single family. If I had to bulldoze this home, the land would still only be worth about $23,000 according to the county. It's probably worth a lot more than that, but that's what they're assessing it at. So we're just going to go with the lowest just to be on the safe side. So I automatically know that anything under 200 at least is not something I want to touch. So let's just look at this one, and it is a single family as well. And just to kind of give you an idea of what these look like, let's just go ahead and check these out and go, you can see, start there. Okay, so this is the one that is starting out. Looks like opening bid of $42,000, and they have the assessed value as county market value, excuse me, of $70,000. So just looking at this, is it really worth the risk unless you're going to drive by? If you drive by this and it looks great, it looks like a perfectly well-preserved property, great. This image, we don't know how old this is just yet. You can find that out by usually going to Google, doing some more due diligence. However, I do see this is close to the water here, and that is a big kind of red flag for me just because we have such bad flooding recently. This last hurricane season was crazy, especially in the Panhandle area. So don't know what this looks like. This house may even not be standing at the moment. So it would be good if you don't live in the area to, pay somebody to drive by before you spend all this money on this opening bid. So that is why I would not bid on these here. All right, well, let's just look at the next one, okay? We have almost 200%. The county market value is 287, which is pretty high. It's pretty good, right? About average. So you can see our opening bid is 144, 277. This means there's probably a homestead exemption on it, that the county is trying to get back their taxes, right? So when somebody's living in the property, they can apply for a homestead exemption in Florida, and they get a tax break. Well, if they don't pay their taxes, they don't get that break anymore, right? So they're going to tack that onto the opening bid. The tax lien holder does not have to pay this. Just FYI, if you're looking into tax liens, when you apply for the tax deed, the lien holder does not pay that opening bid of 144. They pay the back taxes, and then whoever bids on it first, whoever wins the bid is going to be paying that amount. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. But just so you're aware of that, don't let that scare you off from tax lien investing. So the opening bid is 144. Most likely, normally the homestead properties will get redeemed. A lot of times they'll have mortgage companies that wait to the last minute. They'll pay them off, or the homeowner will pay them off, or they'll go into some legal battle, whatever happens. So let's just check this one out just to have some fun, and we'll go from there. Let's just see what this one looks like. All right, so yeah, this is a pretty nice property, right? Delray Beach, 2-1. This is a good area. And it looks like a smaller property, but you've got a kind of a nicer property over here, very well groomed. Again, we don't know what date this photo was taken, so we'd want to do more due diligence. However, if you're looking for single family homes and you want to bid on the larger properties like that, this would be a good one for you. Now, the fourth step that I like to do is checking out the land. Okay, so, all right, so let's talk about worst case scenario, especially for out-of-town investors. If you are not in Florida or not able to check out these properties, drive by them physically, boots on the ground, or pay somebody to do that, even then, there's a lot of problems that can come up, right? So worst case scenario, you do your due diligence, you hire somebody to drive by, you see the property, it looks great. And when you bid on the property and you win it, you go to walk the property and there's a tree that fell out in the back that you couldn't see from the street view. Not speaking from personal experience at all, twice. So let's just say that's the worst case scenario. You have to demolish the property. Now what? Make sure the land is worth what you bid. That is a personal rule of mine. So the first thing I really like to do as far as evaluating the land and the property, again, I have another calculation here. This is taking the assessed land value from the county, dividing it by the opening bid. Okay, so this one's definitely going to be a little bit different than our county market value by the opening bid, especially if it is for anything that has a building on it, right? So we have assessed land values of 0 here, so we can kind of ignore these. We don't have enough data to analyze that. But when you get down here, we can see assessed land for $300. Why would you bid on a property that's only worth $300? Well, I can almost guarantee these are all in Charlotte. Oh, okay. Surprising. I thought I was going to be putting them, and I forgot we removed those. So let me take that back. But, however, it still stands. Our assessed land value, okay, of anything less is going to be something we don't want to bid on. So I'm going to go ahead and sort these out and ignore these. This is just the data that doesn't come through. We're going to go ahead and get rid of anything that is less than, say, My point is usually $5,000. I at least want to make $10,000 on my property, so I need to be able to sell that for about 15 to 20, give or take if you're doing seller financing, depending on what your end goal is. Okay, I like the cash. I like 10,000 at least. I want to walk away from the title company with at least $10,000 in my hand. Okay. And I say walk away like it's the 1990s. Everything's digital now. I haven't been to a title company in forever. So let's just go ahead and take these out. We're going to remove anything at least down to here. I really want to go less than 5,000. I don't want to go less than 5,000. So let's delete those. And let's just see where we're at in regards to our county for these. So we have Volusia, Citrus, Santa Rosa, Pasco. So again, these are all pretty good counties, and sometimes you can find these golden nuggets. And one thing to remember, this is the assessed county value of the land. So a lot of times there's exemptions, like if there's agriculture exemptions, this is what somebody is paying the taxes on. Just like homestead, if your property's worth $200,000, you may get a $50,000 break. So they're going to assess it at 150, not 200. Okay, so just keep that in mind. These assessed values are kind of just a starting point. We really want to do more due diligence. Okay, so if you are kind of on a lower budget, or you're just starting out, you don't want to make silly mistakes and accidentally buy something that's not right, I would recommend starting with these smaller properties, and these are almost all going to be vacant land, I guarantee. Yep, they're all vacant land. So these are great starter properties, especially to get familiar with the counties and see how each county works, how slow or fast they take into account getting your tax deed to you. Some counties may take a week, some counties may take 4 to 6 weeks. So you'll get familiar with which counties you really want to work with. Also, when you speak to them on the phone for anything, or liens, code enforcement, every county is different. So just keep that in mind, and you'll find the ones you like. So we are on to step 5. Step 5, we're going to go ahead and check out our flood zones. So one thing, if you watched any of my other videos, I always say Florida is a swamp. It is completely underwater, whether we're building on top of it or not. It's sinking. It's got limestone, we've got water, we've got hurricanes, we've got lakes, sinkholes, the whole 9 yards, right? Everybody wants to come here though, so that's great for us. We get a lot of tax deeds that way. One thing I do like to do to just go ahead and start with that process of elimination again, is to get out of my way, is anything that is in a 100% flood plain. Okay, a flood zone is different than a flood plain. That's for another video, another day. Basically, a flood plain is where all of the water accumulates and kind of just goes everywhere, right? Flood plains are sometimes man-made, but the flood plains you hardly ever can build on. There are exceptions. Sure, it's like marshland where you can go and build up and bring sand and blah, blah, blah. But who wants to deal with that, right? We're here to make easy money. We have enough properties here. We don't want the problem properties. We'll give that to somebody else who doesn't know what they're doing and hasn't watched this video, and wish them the best of luck. So here we have our flood zone raw. This is the column that you want to look for. And I'll just go ahead and show you the various flood zones, okay? We'll go over these in a little bit. But basically you can see this is coastal floodplain 100%. I also have one that is 53%, 80%, and 84%. We have another one that's called floodway. This is pretty much kind of the same thing, but it's only 1%. And it'll tell you what the other 99% is. Oh, there we go. So coastal floodplain, 91%. So we'll probably remove that one as well. So we're going to stick with anything in a flood zone isn't that bad necessarily. We do have to do due diligence on that and check those out a little bit further. But I'm going to go ahead and look for floodplain as my keyword. And just go ahead and eliminate these and take them out of the mix. Okay, so again, here we go. Our subtype floodplain is 71%. This is one I want to look at. You never know, because if this is just say we happen to get like a 100-acre property, right? So we have 71% of that's in a floodplain. We still have this 29% that may be beautiful property. Okay, so again, I want to specify that it's 100% floodplain is what I'm going to eliminate right now. We may take this off the market later, but for right now is what we're going to do. So let's go ahead and clear this, and again, we can check out our flood zones. Make sure we kind of gathered everything. There's our floodplain, flood hazard. So everything else looks pretty good to me. Yeah, we'll have to look at all these kind of one by one here. So we have subtype null, 97%. I don't know what that is. That's an A and E property. So really what we want is the ones that say X 100%. Okay, X is meaning it's not in a flood zone. So it doesn't look like we have anything that is not 100%. Oh, I'm sorry, subtype area of minimal flood. So we have 100% right here, this third to the last. And you can see right here we have %3. So this X is only 3, and this is our 97%er again. So just to kind of give you a little feedback on that, and just to see what our flood zones are actually look like. So again, X, or sometimes there's a undetermined, which is D. So we need to look at that because it could go either way. Low risk. High risk areas are the A through AO, A99. I don't know what that is. I've never seen that. But and then the V's are definitely super flood zones. So with that, we can go back to our chart. We're going to refresh, and we went from 180 to 126. So we're getting there, right? Again, still 126 properties is way too many for us to look at due diligence wise. So we can break it down a little bit further. We do have what's called the total lien amount and total liens here in this column. This does not include necessarily the taxes, right? So every single one of these properties has liens on it for the taxes. These are usually specifically for buildings like single families with mortgages, but they do give a good indication of something that we could possibly eliminate. So we can see here, county market value is $245 on this, and it has a $255,000 lien. Most likely this is a mortgage company that is going to pay off this no matter what anyways. So we can go ahead and eliminate that. And I'm going to look at the same one underneath 268 to 250. We're going to go ahead and take out those. And another one, so our county market value is 433 with $140,000 lien. So that's not bad, right? So that's still, you know, an easy like $250,000 profit. I'm just curious, so the opening bid is actually much less. So it doesn't look like this is a homestead property. It is a single family, but we're at $30,000 to start in Loxahatchee, Palm Beach. So that should be a good one to watch if it actually goes and doesn't get canceled or redeemed. So another one we have is $70,000 against $376. That's good. Here we go, $53,000 against $32,000. Obviously, you don't want to buy a property that has more liens on it than it's worth. And what's interesting is this one is also starting bid of $2267. Something tells me this is probably a demolished house that hasn't been updated in the county system. So it does say single family. I doubt that single family is probably still sitting there, especially it's a 1946 house. It's not too old, but it was 1 bedroom, 1 bath. Yeah, 664 square feet. So this one is almost, I can almost guarantee, I bet money that this one is either demolished or needs to be demolished, so we can remove that from our watch list. Okay, so the rest of them don't have any liens as far as we can find in the Property Onion spreadsheet here. So we'll go ahead and move on to our next one. Now, once we take all that out, we refresh, we've still got 123 properties, and you can see Lee County has 29. Most likely this is going to be all in the same kind of subdivision, right? So I just know from personal experience, Lee County has a bunch of undeveloped infill lots. When we say infill lots, it's when a developer comes in, slices up the land, right? You see those little squares, and usually between 0.2 to 0.5 acres. And those are called infill lots. So they want to fill in, those lots with all the houses. And a lot of times developers get caught, like the 2008 recession, or they just overbuilt, or they just, trying to give up some of the property. They haven't built properties on their, they haven't built homes on those properties yet, or somebody has not built that property yet. Either way, it's vacant land and people are going to buy it. Okay. So right now in our economy, people are looking in Florida for any vacant land they can put a house on, right? The development is just exploding in Florida. So I'm looking at Lee County right now, and I can see exactly what all of these are, and every single one of them is a piece of land we have one Fort Myers, but the rest are Lehigh acres. So I know that this is a really good, popular area. These usually go for around 15 to 20, 25,000. And you can see our acreage again, 0.22 all the way up to 0.5, exactly what I was saying, infill lots. If we want to look at these a little bit further and you can kind of see what they've been going for, we can go back to the last sale or the last couple months sale, and this is a really good homework exercise for you guys. So let's go ahead and do that. So just go to Lee County realtaxdeed.com. We're going to go to the auction calendar, and you can see we actually have 2 auctions this month, so that's interesting. they do have a lot of infill lots right now, so I will say that. So we're going to go back one auction, okay? And you can see they actually had 4 last month, which that's insane. You know, there's a lot. There's so much. Oh my God, there's 100 and 102 and 70. So I actually bid on a few of these and didn't really get anything because they were going so high. So just be wary of that. So we're going to go back to February, and let's grab one of the bigger ones. So let's grab 80. And what we're going to do is look in this auction status, and it'll tell you it's redeemed, or we're going to see an amount. Okay, so redeemed means that it didn't go to auction. Somebody paid the taxes before it got to auction. Okay, so when we see the auction sold date and the amount, third party bidder, that means that the lien holder that applied for the tax deed did not get that property. Okay, and that happens on like 99.9% of the time, unless it's a really crappy piece of vacant land, waste land that somebody didn't do their due diligence on and wasted all their money on. Regardless. So you can see here we have Lehigh Acres. Let's just look at the zip codes, because the zip codes are probably going to be pretty close. So let's take out our Fort Myers. I know that may be close, but we're looking at specifically 971, 972, 974, 976, all right? So we can just see here 974. So all of these are going to be basically kind of in the same area. So we can see this one went for 13.5, 14,000, 18,000. All of these are those infill lots, the same thing. This is Fort Myers. We're going to ignore that. Cape Coral is good, but again, those go really high. Lehigh Acres, again, we have 16, so right around the 15,000 to 20,000. So I know that anybody else bidding in this auction is probably going to bid somewhere around 15 to 18,000 for each of these properties. So what is a good way of kind of knocking out a bunch of these is to just figure out what's your maximum bid. Like, what do you want to take out of this? If you do your due diligence, check out the comps, and you realize, you know, this specific zip code, they're going for 25,000 on the open market. Well, if you only want to make 5,000, then bid up to 15,000. But remember that you still have closing costs, you still have commissions, you still have title clearing. So your title clearing is going to be about $2,000 if you decide to go that route. Or you can lean towards the seller financing, right? So seller financing, you may not have to do all that stuff. So there's a lot of different things that you can do with these properties, just depending on what your vision is for it and how quickly you want to get paid. And, you know, maybe you're a realtor, so you can save on that commission. Again, it's just all out there. That's why I love real estate. I love all the options that we can do with this. And I feel like I'm getting a little too excited about real estate. I'm geeking out a little bit, so I'm going to stop the video here. Hopefully you've gotten a lot out of this. I've got to go pick up my kids and rush to get that, and then I'm going to come back here and check out all these other properties that we could be auctioning off for next week. But just hopefully you guys got all this. So, like, you know, just looking at, we dwindled it down from 350 something, 60 something properties to 123. If, say, you want to go into citrus at 11, you've got 11 properties to choose from. Bay County has 2, so there's not a lot of competition in Bay, Alachua. Charlotte is high competition, but they don't have too many this week, so they'll have some next week. And actually, one thing I really want to do for you guys, if you're interested in this, if you are wanting to bid next week, or you just want to see what's going on or get a deeper dive into this, go ahead and email me. I think I'm just going to go ahead and give this out. Okay, I'm going to give this next week's spreadsheet, this one that you're looking at, out to you guys for free. It's got all the picks that I would probably go for. You just need to do a little bit more due diligence on your part. Go to floridataxinvestors.com/free list. And also be sure to drop a comment in this video if you got anything out of it. I hope so. Make sure you stick with me, subscribe, like this, and we can keep promoting some awesome stuff for you guys. Data-driven results, no fluff. This is what we're bidding on, and we want to make sure that you guys are, you know, getting something out of these videos too. My goal is to help you invest like the pros, so saddle up for success, and I'll see you in the next one.